Hey, everyone. Sorry, were we late? We were a minute late. I'm Angela O'Hare, your favorite Las Vegas realtor, and
I'm Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor.
and I got my let's roll.
All right, let's roll.
Let's roll is my new saying. Let's roll. And we got an
That's
Aussie.
been your saying though.
I know.
You just now have claimed it.
I'm claiming it.
Okay.
I'm saying it in all my videos, and yeah. So we got an Aussie boy in between us.
Isn't that what they said in one of the planes on 9/11?
What? Let's roll. I don't know.
It is. Look it up.
There's nobody watching. What?
It's been a while. It's been a while though since that. You can reclaim it. There's somebody there now.
Right. So someone commented. Let me make sure I got this volume turned up. It's turned up.
Was our volume low or something?
No, Chris said someone made a comment on our microphone, how it kind of looks very phallic.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So I think we should just talk about life real quick and then get into the numbers, because the numbers I think will go pretty fast.
Okay.
So did you have a good weekend?
Mostly good weekend. Yes. This is pretty, filled with tennis, of course.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Are you going through tournaments right now, or league, or
not? It was league play, but it wasn't tournament yet. We have my 40 and over made one district, so we're going to what's called sectionals next, and that'll be in Denver. I did that last year, if you remember, and now I'm waiting for the spring team to go to districts. More than likely, we'll go there, and so on and so forth.
Well, I graduated finally from the beginners.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the grad class.
All right.
So I think I'm going to do that 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Good plan.
Hour and a half a day.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good exercise.
Good exercise. You're getting some sun.
Yes. Well, that's from walking too. I do, my morning walks. The calm before the storm.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we'll talk.
So my weekend was actually lovely. Last night I went out to Saddle and Spurs.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually off of Smoke Ranch and
Rainbow
Jones. And I had a friggin' blast. It was so much fun. They had a Grateful Dead cover band playing. I hadn't danced in a while, so I let myself go wild and have fun.
Nice.
Yes. But
was that which cover band was that?
It's called the Mess Arounds.
Okay, yeah.
Have you heard of them?
Didn't we see those?
Yeah, I think we saw them at Sand Dollar. Last time we went out together was it was 2020. Yeah. It was October time frame, 2020. The last time Rob and I went out. We don't really see each other but once a month, and we occasionally will throw a lunch in there.
Yeah.
Right. We had lunch. Was it last week?
It was last week already. Yep.
Patty J, are you guys seeing any buyer pullbacks with the rising interest rates? Angela's doing.
We're going to answer these questions. You guys line up your questions if you're curious about what's happening in the market. It is definitely a time of change, and we have a lot of things that we could go over. Obviously, the market.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's pull that up. Let's get some serious now. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear about our social life, but this is the only time, the 2 seconds that Rob comes in. Oops. Got to put your phone on vibrate, sir.
Hey, that's the thing. All right. There we go.
Speaking of let's roll, the reason I got this t-shirt is I started going old G, roller skating. So that's my new thing right now. I saw this shirt and it was perfect with the roller skating and let's roll.
Yeah. I dig it.
But we're going to get into the numbers, and today we're going to be going over April 2022 numbers. And boy, Rob and I and Chris had a bet that the median price, Rob and I agreed that the median price would increase by $10,000 in April. And Chris said $5,000. We were all wrong. Shockingly, the median price increased by $15,000. So let's look at this little.
So that's what is that? $40,000 in the last 3 months.
Yeah,
40,000.
So we are now at $475,000. It went from 460 in March to $475,000 in April, which puts us up at 3.3% from the prior month, and then 26.7% from the prior year, which is actually 100,000 year over year.
Yeah.
And median price increase. What are you thinking?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah.
It's a good thing the prices have gone up a lot, because they might drop a little bit in time. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this big surge also will have a downward slope to it. Not necessarily but little trickle down, little pullback, if you will. And I think Vegas is ultimately going to be looking better than other places, because we're still a destination while some of these places people are leaving. And there's a little bit of a buyer slowdown, because some of these people can't sell their homes in other states right now to come here.
Right. So which brings us to what happened last month in sales, and then we'll bring it up and tie everything together. Oh, no, that's okay. I asked what you were thinking, so you told me what you were thinking.
Honestly, that's where I'm at.
So there were only 3,001 homes that sold for the month of April, which is down 8.3% from March and down 14.9% from a year ago. So what that's telling us, let's remove this bad boy and go over, kind of pull it all together.
Yeah.
What you're thinking. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's go into the median price for condos, and then we'll pull everything together.
Okay.
Lately, I like to go over condos just to show you. They had a slight increase. They only increased by 5,000. So the median price on condos went to 275,000, which is a 1.9% increase from prior month and a 35.8% increase from the prior year. So at least we know that condos are kind of starting to slow down.
They're hitting the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So then now let's go talk.
And one of those reasons for that ceiling is the interest rates. They started moving about the time that people would have been getting an escrow that they're closing now on. Right.
Because people that are buying the condos and townhomes are in the lower, the affordability bracket. So once you increase that interest rate, that's going to decrease how much you can afford. And obviously that's taking a hit first. And then I think the only caveat to piggyback on what you said is, yes, we are seeing a slowdown. Yes, we are seeing an increase in median price. However, if we continue with the lower inventory, I still think we will slightly inch up in median price until we get an influx of inventory. So I don't know. I honestly don't think, yes, I feel the change. I feel the shift. But I don't know how big of a shift that's going to be for the next few months.
The train is still rolling. It's not stopped at the station yet.
Right.
So there's a number of things that, when we talk about these things, we have to remember that these escrows started 40 days ago or 30 days ago, right? So there's been a lot of change in that time that makes us think, oh, this is where it's going now. But then you drop in a $15,000 price increase and probably, and I'm going to just go jump ahead again on a prediction. I actually think that we're going to increase one more time.
Me too.
Because again, these were all sales that were done, 30 plus days ago, most of them. And so now they're going to drop in, and that was still a pretty heavy market. Like you said, very low inventory, so on and so forth.
What number, how much of an increase?
I'm going to go for the lower number, around 5,000.
All right. I'm going to go for the higher number.
Okay.
I'm going to go for 10K.
I would not be surprised if you're right. I mean, I just had one close today that we listed, it was only in the 350 price range and it sold for 25.
Honestly, think for this 6 months, I think May we're going to have an increase. And I think June.
You think June will have one more?
Yeah. I mean, because I'm already piling up the closings for next month. And of course, I can't base it on my business, obviously. But I have 6-7 closings this month. I already have 4 closings next month.
That goes to the train still moving. It hasn't stopped at the station yet. but the signs are all there.
Yeah, because ultimately what's going to affect this is people that can't sell their homes in California, the West Coast, and also back east. If they're not making a huge profit on their home, then coming
if they're
here,
having to lower their prices,
right,
which is it's what I'm hearing from agents on it. I'm watching some of the agents now. I'm going in and watching agents in other markets, and I'm sort of seeing what they're talking about, and they're talking about list price reductions and so on and so forth. And then there's this economist guy that he seems to be pretty sharp on what's happening with the but anyway, what's happening with the real estate markets elsewhere, because we get in a bubble here, right? Vegas is, and this is kind of what I've been talking about. I've been waiting for this to happen too, that it was blanketed across the country, that there was the same sort of situation happening everywhere, right?
Yes.
Everything was low inventory, prices are going up. Well, now I'm starting to see where, certain states, certain cities are having differences in what's happening in their markets.
Right.
And so that actually leaks over because those are our people. Those are they're people that want to come here.
Right. What I'm seeing a slowdown is, or not as prevalent, is multiple offers.
Yep. That's where it'll start.
So maybe instead of getting 10 to 15 multiple offers on a house, there's maybe only 5.
Yeah.
So there's still, that's where it's going to start, is the multiple offer situation, which will help with the median price. If the multiple offer isn't going crazy, 50,000 over asking price, then obviously that's going to affect our median price.
Yeah.
So where I'm seeing the shift is the multiple offer situation. Maybe there's only one offer and my client's offer gets accepted and that's it. I mean, hallelujah, finally, not going up against a million people.
So this is the bonus for the buyers that's starting to happen. Okay.
Right.
So if you are somebody that has to get a purchase done, I think it's starting to get easier for you.
Yes.
In some cases, a lot easier, especially if you're looking in the luxury market and whatnot.
Right.
It's just a matter of there's still low inventory there. So you're not going to have your pick of the litter, so to speak. Not at the moment, but I think when you do have the pick of the litter, now if you're borrowing money, it's going to be increased over time too.
True.
So,
and now the sellers are not going to have as much being able to ask for the barn or ask for everything.
Nope, they're
not going to be able to get their lease backs.
We're back to traditional things,
Right.
which means that they might actually start accepting some contingencies.
Yeah.
They might start paying closing costs again. So our values, these are the things that ensure the value for a little while, because buyers will feel like they're going to get a deal just based on, sure, I'll give you your list price, but I'm not having to pay over appraisal.
Right.
I'm not
letting you rent back for a free for a month or 2 months.
I don't have to do all these things. I can just buy the house and I can maybe get closing. Maybe I can do a contingency on selling my house first. And that might be a little still down the road, but still.
But not waiving appraisal contingency has been big.
Right. So you can see where, we have some hope that, certainly that I know a lot of people are thinking it's going to fall off a cliff. We're not just going, if we do go down, I don't believe it'll just be like hump.
Right.
It's going to take
a gradual progression.
Just sellers are just not going to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm cool with, losing
and
all
we
the
said
money.
2 months ago, what did we say? If you were a seller, now that, I mean, that was the peak. I mean, yes, it's going, but now you're losing your, what's the word I want to think? Cushion, your, you can't ask for the world anymore.
Well, you had the strong arm. You could just make everything that you wanted to get done. So now as a seller, this is what I've been kind of saying, is that now what you're getting into is a more competitive seller's market. Even though there's low inventory, it probably means we're headed for a more competitive seller's market. We're still in a seller's market because of the fact that it's low inventory.
Right. And it'll be in a seller's market until, what we always say, once it's past 6 months of inventory, that becomes a buyer's market. I've been in real estate for 6 years. You've been in real estate for 13.
Going on 14.
It's been a seller's market since I've been in real estate.
Yeah. It's not for me, but
well, you started at the craziness,
but for about 10 years, probably.
Right.
About a decade.
Well, let's answer some questions and then get back into numbers.
Yeah, sure.
So Patty J says, are you guys seeing any buyer pullbacks with which we kind of went over, seeing buyer pullbacks.
Well, she's pullbacks. And I don't know if she's relating this to somebody that might be in getting, that has been looking and then they've decided, oh crap, I can't. Yes, that's definitely happened. Not personally to our buyers, but it's happening because it's part of why we're losing some.
Well, a lot of my buyers, especially if they're cash, they want to wait this out to see how it's going to play.
The cash is getting back to being king.
Right. They want to see how the market plays out, to see when the interest rates, so they're kind of holding off and going to the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's still buyers that want to buy because they have to move. There's other circumstances that need to move. But so we are seeing very little pullbacks, but it's because they want to wait to see where the market's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, and some people are being pulled out of their ability to buy. So let's just, for an example, you might be at 400,000 a month ago. Now you're at 350.
Right.
I can afford because my interest rate went up so much.
Right.
Right.
So I told you the market was, from Air Jordan, I told you the market was going to correct or crash. Nothing lasts forever. Well, I don't think it's going to really crash. I think it's more so going to stabilize and finally be a traditional market.
Yeah, I think that, we're going to see some pullback and some natural ebbs and flows here of look, you're coming out of a historic, absolutely.
But even if we do have prices decrease, we went so friggin' high that it's okay to come down back low, back to reality.
That's personally, I think so. Yes, I'm sure that most people would say with a chagrin that we're, maybe not seeing this coming, are going to say, oh, and that's kind of the message that I'm getting out to my clients right now, is to have expectations for what's happening right now. So that you don't think that you're still in this historic. It's weird. It's going to be weird because so many people have it etched in their brain that summertime is still the hot market. Like, so I'm going to put my house on in June or July, and I'm going to get multiple offers. It may not be that case. It's probably not going to be that case.
You already passed that.
Yeah. And it was, weirdly enough, all of it happened prior to spring and right beginning of spring.
January, February.
Right? That's when it all really boomed. But that was our absolute, you're going to look back and you're going to see the big spike and then a slow decrease from there. And like you said, coming back down to earth. I mean, look, when things get really high, there's a little come down,
Can't be high all the time.
Right. And hopefully we haven't been so high that we just, we're wiped out for a long time. That's a
great analogy.
Yeah. So I don't agree that we're falling off a cliff in Vegas.
Right.
I think Vegas is not necessarily crash proof, but because I even look back on 2008, I said we crashed so hard back then.
Oh my God.
There was a lot of lessons learned from that. And I just don't think Vegas will feel that. Now, other markets, I would say, I am thinking are going to have more problems.
Well, the only catch is if these lenders, because of the high interest rate, start doing these ARM mortgages.
Yeah, well, okay, so creative financing.
Right.
Yes,
we start doing our creative financing.
There will be actually some of that creative financing is, I've talked about this a little bit. I think I've mentioned it before. Right. There will be a push to get more of this, and Biden talked about it when he was running for president. I'm going to have this program that will allow people to have their down payment, assistance and whatnot, to help them get into properties. I think for sure that's going to come into play at some point. It's a matter of, obviously.
Yeah, but down payment assistance different than adjustable rate
sure
mortgage.
No, I yes, but I'm starting there because I think I actually think that's going to help people get into the purchasing.
Because I remember on the Robin Ann show, we were talking about when Biden was getting in the office, he was doing that $15,000 down payment assistance program, right?
So think about it this way: the interest rates is higher, but you're getting your down payment paid for you. So you're a buyer in the 300, 400,000, whatever territory. I think that, I'm talking in months from now, right. If that all goes through, maybe even towards the beginning of next year, if you start seeing that, it will prop the market up. It will, at least in those lower price ranges.
Right.
So,
well, I don't understand why they would increase the interest rates to stop inflation, but then yet do this program to prop the market up.
Yeah, well,
That doesn't make
because
sense.
I think that the interest rates. Well, first of all, it's I, it's a complicated, but I think a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford it if you don't have some assistance.
Right.
We've just come off on such a you're at this precipice. You have these high prices, and you have high interest rates, which could get higher. So that's the pressure, right? So how do you relieve that pressure? Well, you could have these
Makes
assistance
sense.
programs, and of course these even just the regular ones that we have always had, the down payments assistance. You couldn't get one of those accepted, and you still probably can't right now. But in the months to come, I think that's a big possibility.
Let's get to Kathleen, and then we'll go back to
Yeah.
the numbers. I have noticed that some of the builders are building smaller homes. I mean, it just depends, depends on where the community, what builders and what area are you talking about, Kathleen? Because, like when Red Point Square Village was conceptualized, the point of that was being a higher density area where there's a lot of homes, smaller yards, cookie cutter, smaller homes, condos, townhomes. So depending on the area, it just depends on what's the need for.
I think there's always been a push for builders to make homes feel larger with floor plans, but yet be smaller with actual square footage.
Right.
So that's probably happening, and there's a push to have lower priced inventory available for people. More homes in a community means more availability to sell and make more money, of course, right?
So we'll get more into new construction, possibly depending on how things play out. But we're going to get back to the numbers. And I don't know if we went over this last month, but I think we skipped it because we had Chris, my buyer's agent. But the luxury market was for the last 2 months has been on fire. And there were a total of 197 homes that sold in the month of April that were over $1 million, compared to, 173 the month before, which is a 24 home increase. But not only did the number of homes sell increase, so did the median price. And the median price went from 1.36 mil to 1.4 mil for the month of April. So the luxury market, believe it or not, has gone up.
Well, I believe it absolutely, because again, when you have the low inventory, that's what's been happening. I mean, and as long as you didn't way overprice or put your property on just at the tail end of that, and what I'm seeing right now in the luxury market is that, first of all, I'm seeing a lot more come on. If you're watching some of
your videos,
well, my videos, or if you're watching just what some of the bigger luxury home sellers are putting on, it seems like they're putting on new ones every day, if not twice a day. I'm getting emails, and myself, I'm getting those types of listings, and they're not just getting on the market and going bye right away. It's becoming more traditional luxury market, which means there's a longer on market period.
Luckily, I have 2 luxury market scenarios. I had a luxury market home that I sold in Summerlin, Paseos Village. It was a Lennar home called the Lano Community. It's like over 38 or maybe 4,000 square feet with a next gen suite. We bought it at 1.5. We actually waived the appraisal, but thankfully the appraisal came in at 1.5.
Nice.
So that's good. But then I had another luxury home that we sold it for 1.1, but after really analyzing the market in Sky Canyon, nothing's have sold in Sky Canyon over $1 million. So we went down to 999 or 999, but then it came in appraised at 850.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's an ouch.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people thinking that their house is worth more than what it really is.
That's for sure. And, just depending on the seller's needs, they're either going to come down a lot, just keep chopping the price down and get it to where it sells eventually, or they're going to say, I don't need to sell that badly.
But that problem is that house becomes stale, and which, this right now, because you have the same situation going on right now, right?
Sure.
With one of your listings.
I have a couple. Yeah.
And I think the problem is that my philosophy has always been, you need to price it right to begin with accordingly. and not what you think you can get, but let the market dictate the price.
Yeah, it's better. It's definitely better.
Because now what happens is people are thinking, oh, it's been on the market for 30 days. Even though you've had these 3 or 4 price cuts, I'm still going to offer you a lower deal, regardless of the price cut that you just had.
Yeah. Yep. At this point, I'll take that offer to come in.
All right. So back to the new construction. Kathleen said Tri-Point, Toll Brothers, and Lennar. Well, again, where are these communities? Because Tri-Point has a new community that I just posted a video on called Royals Edge, which is a smaller community, but they also have their bigger homes right next door. Toll Brothers is doing some condo type living, and Summerlin, it's called Cordillera. They have another similar community in Henderson. So, I mean, it's not new that these builders were doing small. They do all kinds of sizes, in my opinion, right?
Up to a certain, they don't really like to do super big. You know, that falls into the
Toll Brothers does the 4,000 plus square foot.
It's one of the larger homes that you can buy.
And Tri-Point does almost 4,000.
We don't like to say tract style.
Yeah, North Las Vegas, that makes sense. Like Lennar.
North Las Vegas for sure.
Yeah, Lennar, they have all kinds of size houses.
What's the community out there? The big one, Vista.
Valley Vista.
Valley Vista.
But that was all D.R. Horton.
Is the whole thing D.R. Horton?
Except for one.
Yeah, I think
one
Lennar. There,
yeah, one Lennar, but the rest of it's all D.R. Horton.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the numbers, folks. So there was still a good we don't want to go into condos.
No.
I was like 1,000. So the number of, where am I, folks? All right. So the number of new listings that hit the market for the month of April was 3,667, which is actually up 4% from the prior month, but slightly down 0.9% from the prior year. So we're still, seeing some listings come on the market.
It's inching up.
It's inching up, but not like huge amount of listings.
It's not going to, because you still don't have this like sudden urge for everybody to sell,
Right.
So this is why it's going to be this weird thing that I potentially, there's going to be some weird stuff, because you're still going to have low inventory for a while, but in a changing market, which doesn't, usually the inventory being high is what starts to really change your market.
Right. Right.
But it's going to,
well, that's what I said. If the number of listings continue the rate that it's going, excuse me, we will still continue to see price increases. Maybe not as drastic, but certainly we will still see it. Once that inventory starts peaking or going higher, then obviously it's a cause and effect.
Right.
It's supply and demand.
It's going to happen through the summer. It'll be pretty obvious by the end of the summer exactly what's going down. Right. That's my feeling.
So then that brings us to the number of available homes, and this number has increased tremendously. We have 2,441 homes that weren't listed without offers at the end of April, which is up 21.7% from the prior month and up 33.6% from the prior year. So you got to remember this time last year how anemic we were.
Yeah, that's the tail of the tape for me right there.
We were very, very, very anemic last year, and we couldn't.
You didn't see that kind of an increase of hangover.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a huge increase of inventory. And my prediction would be that's going to continue to go up.
That's the number to really watch right now, because these properties are hanging over, and they're getting, some of them are starting to price reduce, and they're trying to be more competitive to get it sold. A lot of them just started way too high. Right. That's kind of the tail there. So be cautionary tale, sellers.
Speaking from experience, listen to your agent, and have them make sure they analyze the market. And
well, I mean, I would hope that most people, especially the people that have bought in years past, are in a position where they've gained a lot of equity. And let's not be a penny smart, nickel foolish, right? Right. You may have a absolutely wonderful tip-top property but you still should be smart about it in a changing market like this, where you're just not going to have the same demand that you had a month or 2 or 3 ago. So
yeah. I actually have a tip for sellers that I've had some clients from the Seattle area buy a home here in Vegas. And when they sold their home in Seattle, before a buyer bought their home, they hired a home inspection.
okay.
A home inspector inspect the home so that they knew if there was going to be any issues, so that
Sure.
when the buyer did the inspection, it wasn't any surprises and they were able to fix the things that were pointed out by the inspector. So I think that's a very, especially at this time.
Yeah.
Don't expect to get away of not being able to do the repairs or anything. I think now's the time to be a smart seller and possibly hire a home inspector before you list it to get those repairs taken care of first.
That adds up to exactly what I've been saying, which is just you're going to need to be more competitive. You're going to want to keep your property in escrow once you get it there and get it closed. So that's just being smart. That's looking for the trouble before you have it.
Right.
All right.
Because we live in a house and sometimes there's a lot of things that these inspectors inspect, like the insulation on the outside of your AC unit could be rotted, you know what I mean?
Wrap
or the backflow preventer in the water. I mean, there's just so many little things that, as a homeowner, sometimes you just really don't pay attention to these kinds of little things that the inspector is going to inspect. And let me tell you, these buyers, they're going to go through that list. And sometimes, even though you tell them not to, they're going to want everything to be fixed.
Yeah. It's their last point to get negotiating. And, everybody wants to feel like they got a little something. They got a little something over on you, everybody does, right?
All right. Let's see what, anything else. Back to trading. Have a great day. Lennar has been doing creative financing. One more quarter of negative growth. We're in a recession.
I'd love to hear what you all have to say. If you have a thought on what you think is happening, if you're in another state, especially, I'd love to hear what you think is what you're seeing happening there. Let's have a little consensus. Let's see what's on
what's happening in your state where you're located, or if you live in Vegas, what are your thoughts about this crazy market?
Absolutely.
Right.
Where are we going? What do you think?
Where are we heading? All right. So now we're going to the next slide. So that brings us
only 0.8 in that. Is this the?
So the number of months of availability of homes is 0.8. And I do believe it went, I didn't write it. I think it was 0.6 last month. So it increased to 0.8 months of inventory, which is at 32.7% increase from the prior month and 57.1% from the prior year. Now, last year, it was like 0.5%. 0.5 months of inventory. So the months of inventory is slightly creeping up because then the number of homes that sold was 20, without offers was 2,400. So those two numbers correlate together.
Let's make a prediction.
Okay.
How much is it going up next month?
I think we'll be at 1 month of supply.
At least,
At least.
I think I'll guess 1.2 months. I think we're gonna have a big jump.
The Price is Right with me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going up a little bit more. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not just going 1.1.
Right.
I'm gonna say 1.2 months by.
That's drastic.
That would be a big movement, right? That's nearly half a month's supply.
Yeah.
So
that would be a huge movement. That would be another 32% increase at least.
That's what I think will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. Let's see what happens next month with Rob's predictions. Now, if we can only remember what we said, right?
Right.
I know.
Keep us on point, folks.
I know median price is always easy to remember because that's what we always bet on. So have we bet on other things besides median price in this video today? Besides the month of supply?
We basically agreed that on what the median would be.
Right.
So
you said 5,000. I said 10,000.
Oh, okay. So there you go.
Right.
We got a little difference there.
Right.
And I don't know what else we could say here. I think the
listings. What do you think?
I think the listings the hangover will be somewhere around 3,000, more than 3,000. Well, that'd be a 500. Yeah, 3,000. Because it was 24 and change, right?
Was 3,600 new listings came on the market
Well,
last
I'm
month.
not thinking new listings. I'm
Oh,
thinking
the
this
hangover
number right here, the total
So
number
what
without
number?
offers. I think it will be at 3,000. 600 increase. 500.
That's huge.
500 increase.
Because especially if,
It is huge.
it'll tie
I'm
in
going
with your
huge.
1.2 months of supply. So if I'm going to coordinate with my 1 month of inventory, then I'm going to say it's going to be 2,600.
Okay.
I should get a pen and write this shit down.
Here, I'll write it down.
Write it down. All right, folks, we're going to write this down.
Angela's cussing now. Now you know it's getting good.
Sorry. I like a little competition. All right, so
Yeah.
median price, I said 10K, you said 5K.
Okay, and I put it in the wrong. Okay, here we go. Notes. Okay, median. And says 10K, Rob 5K.
And then without offers, I say 2,600.
Okay, and I'm going to say 3K. That's A. I'm just going to pull A and R so I can make it easy. All right, and then the last one was
months of supply. I say 1 month of supply, and you say 1.2.
Moss, months of supply.
So Kathleen says that she lives in Little Rock and it was hot for a while, but is starting to correct. That's good. I watch a HGTV show, but it's in northern Arkansas, and I think it's From Fixer to, what is that show? It's a very good show. It makes me think about Arkansas is very pretty.
Yeah. Oh, especially right now.
Yeah, where it's the northwest corner of Arkansas, so it's kind of by the Ozarks, I do believe. Fixer to Fabulous, I do believe. Do you know what that show is, Kathleen? Anyway, so that's what we are voting. And then 82%, 87.2% of the closings was on the market for 30 days or less. 82.8% of that was on the market for 30 days or less for the month of March. And then 81.5% was on the market for 30 days or less the prior year. So that's still interesting that it's 82% or 87% of the homes are closing within 30 days. That's actually a pretty good number that homes are going on the market and they're actually selling.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's still been this, that we still had some pent up demand there. Again, the motivation was like, again, the cattle prod.
Right.
It's like interest rates going higher. Just better hurry up, But, we're going to get now, I think we're getting into that place where people know they're higher. So there are going to be some still left there where they're like, okay, I can accept that. And I'm going to hurry up and do this before it's 7% or whatever. So there will be some of those, but some people have already decided to take a seat.
Right. Speaking of interest rates, that leads into our next segue. The average rate of a 30-year home loan was 5.2% as of Thursday of last week.
Okay.
Up 2.9% or 2.96% a year earlier, as what Freddie Mac had reported. So that's huge, 2.96%. I mean, 2.96 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're thinking at 5.27.
Yeah, so it is huge. And I'm going to tell you how huge it is. It is a century. It's been a century since we've had that kind of interest rate movement in such a short time.
Right. That's almost 3% movement from a year. And that's huge. But then you got to think of how much we went down too in a year's time. Last year, what you got?
Well, I was just looking at rates today. 30-year 5.2. So 5.25 around ish.
So pretty much what I said.
Yeah.
So mortgage rates are now at their highest point since 2009, according to Freddie Mac.
Okay. Maybe so. That sounds right. Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe so. Freddie Mac says
so. Freddie says so. I guess so. I'm just trying to recall, I
wasn't in real estate in 2009, so I couldn't assist you. So that wraps up our numbers. We're going to just talk briefly about other things real quick. Rob and I had lunch last week, and this was at the time when Elon Musk bought Twitter. Rob and I think in the future.
In
What?
the future.
What do you think?
Wait, what?
Do you remember?
No, I remind me what. Oh my goodness. I say a lot of things.
Well, we said that Elon Musk will go for president.
Oh my goodness.
You
This
can't
is a
remember that?
big Ange and Rob Gnostication.
Yeah. But someone said he was born in South Africa, so that can never happen.
Oh, I think that is true. I think they are correct about that.
So then our Rob and Ange Gnostication may not come into fruition unless, because he's so friggin' rich, they make an exception.
I wouldn't be surprised, you know.
They changed the Constitution.
There were people kind of wanting to do it back when Arnold was going for governor. They were thinking, all right, he'll go for president one day, but he couldn't because he was born in another country.
I don't know where he's Elon Musk. Can anyone give us some clarification on that?
I mean, I think Musk would. I think he was born in South Africa. I'm almost positive of it. You'd have to, in my mind, he would have to show a really incredible ability. Even further, of course, he's a genius on what he's done, and he's, I guess, the richest man in the world. But he would also have to show this other level of being able to be a leader, right? That we all would
if
find.
Donald Trump can do it, then
well, but
I'm just kidding.
He can do it. But did he do it? Right? I mean, obviously, he's very polarizing. But if you have a guy that can actually bring people together, that can be a great leader, that clearly most of the country, like a big portion of the country, is like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. I could see us changing that exemption or making an exemption,
right?
Changing that rule of being born in the country. I could see that happen.
I see.
But I think it would take an extreme level of, wow, this guy is absolutely fabulous. And in our polarizing world, I don't know if that's even possible anymore. Who can agree that anybody's all that great at anything anymore?
Right. So Kathleen says that Northwest Arkansas is still a hot spot. I'm going to wait 6 months before moving to Vegas. Awesome. You can call Rob and I. Patty says, I feel like the market is on a slight delay. So I am interested to see what happens in, say, 6 months from now.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of buyers that are, sorry, my dog is in the way, so he's panting and I don't want to pet him. I mean, a lot of my buyers are wanting to see what's going to happen in 6 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame people when you have a changing market, especially because, we've heard it since the pandemic and even before that, the sky is falling, right? So,
well, before the pandemic, they were saying 2020 was going to be the crash.
Right.
And they had been saying that for a while. Everyone says for the last 10 years.
No, everybody wants to be right.
People have been saying that there was going to be a crash, but 2020 came, there was a 6-month delay because of COVID, but then once June hit, it's been nonstop since June of 2020, in my opinion.
Right. So there's going to be a lot of people who are like, oh, here it comes. And with the stock market, it has been taking a hit, this is what I have been saying for a long time. I don't invest in the stock market personally. I know a lot of people do, who do, I should say. But it's not something I understand. I prefer to put my eggs in the real estate basket. Right. But I have been thinking the stock market is volatile for a long time.
But I've been thinking I don't invest either. But it's like, I need to talk to somebody and start investing now while everything is low.
Maybe soon. Maybe it's coming, huh?
Yeah. Right? And then once everything, because it happened in 2008. I remember it very clearly. I used to work at Dillard's for many years, and my stock was decimated.
Right.
And then every year it just kept on going up. And by the time I left in 2012, I had over 200,000 in my 401k. Yeah. So I think for those of us that aren't into investment, now may be a time to get into investing.
I without a doubt think that you can look for your opportunities in the negatives that I'm going to say are going to happen,
right?
Economically for a little bit here. That's what I think.
Yeah. Anyone have any suggestions on what stock I should invest in?
Yeah.
I'm not investing in Tesla though.
But I thought Elon for president.
Yes, for president, but
He could sell it anytime.
You know
right?
And I hate saying this, but I think his cars are overrated. I
Oh.
think the Tesla
Ooh,
car it's a big
that's
statement.
Controversial.
It's very controversial. The only reason I
like
say
it.
this is because I have a lot of clients that come here from California. And for me, yeah, you get gas, that's 5 minutes. But when you're driving, you have to worry about charging your car again. And that you have to sit somewhere for 20 minutes or whatever to get some kind of juice. And then that's not a full juice.
Right.
Then you're constantly
So you're
worrying
limping
about
into town a little bit.
Yeah. Then you have to worry about charging your car all the time.
They call
I
it
think
range anxiety.
I think with having a hybrid makes much more sense than a full-on electrical
I'm loving
car.
my car right now. I'll be honest, that's for sure.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Food for thought on that.
Yeah, we're in a transitional period of what is it going to be? How's this all going to work with electrics and whatnot?
Ozzy.
um,
Bye, guys.
Yeah, he was getting warm, but he didn't care.
Nope. I don't.
I can tell he's like 3 body heats.
I'm in between Rob and Ange. I don't care if
we do these things and we heat up. See,
Yeah.
we heat up. That's what happens. That's why you like watching.
Right. We heat up. We're very passionate about what we talk about. So then we start getting energetic.
And then the poor dog is frying in the middle of this.
So I just want to talk about new construction. So in the meantime, if you guys have any comments or questions or want to talk about something or have questions about us, go for it. But new construction, they're still not slowing down. There's always new construction coming up. But what's happening now is that the new construction builders are speccing out all these homes. I think I kind of briefly talked about this.
No, I was up there at what was builder? Taylor Morrison, and yeah,
Taylor Morrison's especially known for doing that.
I had been to them not that. I guess it was time flies, so probably it was a few months, and they were still allowing you to pick options. And then the last time I went, not so much. Was it Savannah? Maybe.
I think it's probably Savannah.
The one stories over there.
Yeah, Savannah. So what is a spec home? Okay, a spec home technically kind of is a quick move-in home.
It's a very small home that looks like this. It's just a spec.
But you may not be able to buy it until 3 months from now, 90 days, 60 days. So a spec home is the builders go out, they pick out all the structural options, they pick out all the upgrades, and then they say, here, if you want to buy in this community, you have to pick. This is what it is. But they have a professional team pick out the upgrades. They pick out upgrades that's what most buyers want or what's the trend or what's happening. Yeah. And they also pick the structural options that most people want, like the 12-foot sliders, etc.
A lot of what's in the models that people don't want to part with, right?
Right. So what they'll do is, for the most part, they'll leave carpeting in the bedrooms, but then either put tile or vinyl plank or a laminate or a engineered hardwood as the main house flooring. They'll maybe, especially in Savannah, those high voltage ceilings are an upgrade. They'll probably choose those high voltage ceilings because a lot of people like them vaulted ceilings. So Taylor Morrison, big on it. Yeah. Toll Brothers is doing it now. Where pretty much now, I mean, you can still probably pick some things, maybe not your structural, but maybe your other things. But like in Sky Canyon and Vista Rosa, Mont Rosa, and Palmera and Valera, a lot of those are spec homes, and you can buy it within a couple of months, which is nice for those people that want new construction, are okay with the options that have been selected, and have a brand new home.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, and obviously this is because of supply and demand as well. We have shortages, so they're making sure they can build this home for sure by just ordering in bulk a lot of this stuff.
Right. They plan this out months in advance because with the supply chain issues, they have to order all the tile, the cabinets, etc.
But it means a much shorter wait to get the home, and that's great. And the woman there had a great saying for what this is. It's a new resale. That's what they are. They're a new resale. It's not really a resale, but in the resale market, obviously you don't get to choose what you do with the house. It is what it is, right?
Well, what these builders are doing now is putting them on the MLS. Once they hit that phase, especially with Toll Brothers, once they hit the cabinets, pretty much once it hits cabinets is like things starts like moving along really fast. So then they put it on the MLS, and
They used to do that with their oh God, now I'm forgetting what was called when they have them built already.
Quick
But
moving.
well, not the quick moving. It's basically a spec home, but it's not a spec home. It's standing inventory. They don't call it standing inventory right now because it's not.
It's called a quick moving.
Yeah, but standing inventory was in a more traditional time where basically the builder's getting ahead of what the demand is. And so they have a home that they've already built. Maybe somebody fell out of escrow or something.
True.
And now they have this standing inventory home, which is basically a spec home when you think about it.
Right. Yeah. And we used to see a lot of those maybe in 2019 and then
2018.
Yeah. And then when demand started with the lower inventory in the resale market, they stopped it.
They've been gone for 2 years.
But now the builders like TriPoint, from what I now gather, is they are only picking the structural. You could still pick out your upgrades, which is good. There's pros and cons to it.
Right. Yeah. We got a couple of questions, and I think this is a good one. Are the spec homes prices including the lot? And I think that what you're talking about is lot premium, right?
Yes.
New.
It is. Yes.
Well, no, not in Taylor Morrison.
Yes.
They not okay. Hold on. What I should say is they'll tell you that, hey, we're going to have these lots. These are going to be spec homes, but we don't know exactly what those will be priced at yet.
Right. But the once they're
available, yes, you know the full details.
The full details. Yes. They're going to give you the price with all the upgrades.
It's a good question because that actually helped clear up what I would have said, which would have been a little more confusing. Sorry.
Yeah, you need to talk to the pro here. No, I'm just kidding. But no. So when they list that price, that's with the lot premium and all the upgrades. And if you're interested in that model, I can always email the agent. I have a good relationships. We have good relationships with them and say, hey, can you send me what the options were selected so we can see what options were selected?
Absolutely.
Hi, Kim.
Another good question.
Yeah. Can you read it?
Are the taxes higher for new construction versus resale? And the answer is absolutely.
Yes. And I tell this in all my videos. Typically, when you buy new construction, and I say this every time, it's around approximately 1% of the total purchase price, meaning all your upgrades, your lot premium, the whole gamut. So if you buy an $800,000 home, now it's approximate. It could be just slightly under 1%, but for the most part, it's going to be around 1%. So that's going to be $8,000. Now, if you would buy that same $800,000 home and resale, you're probably looking at $3,500, if not less.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Come on, folks. Let's ask some questions. I like answering. How long have we been on?
We got to be
52 minutes.
Yeah, we're getting near the end here.
Yeah.
But we got some good stuff for you guys to tune in for next month. That we discussed.
Should we? Okay, so now that we have these bets in place, should we up the ante to an award?
Well, yeah, we could do best. We have 3, so we could best two out of 3, basically.
All right, and the best 2 or 3 takes the winner takes the other
lunch
to lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll start there, and we're gonna get more and more. If it works and you guys actually like it, you like seeing that every month. Maybe we'll up the ante even further.
Well, I just had a thought that came to my mind. Why don't we do a video of our lunch?
Okay. Well, I don't. Does anybody want to see us have lunch?
Well, I just did a video recently.
I guess people like.
I kind of took the idea of your whole car ride thing and talked about the market. But what I took it a step.
You took that? I took that from you too, though.
Well, I took it a step further, and it was called the day in the life of a realtor, or Angela O'Hare. And I briefly talked about the market, not like how you really talk about the market, but then I took people on a ride with me to my day, or how my day was unfolding. So I had like 4 or 5 construction sites that I was going to. And so it was kind of fun to like go and tour the new constructions that I have going on. And I want to do more of those type of fun ride along with me. And I think people would actually like that.
Yeah. I'd be like
people like
Uber.
People are nosy, right?
Yeah.
That's why all these reality shows do well. They want to see how our days unfold, I guess, maybe. I could be wrong. I could have a high ego and think really highly of myself. right?
Well, I guess it's the ego is there for a reason. A healthy ego is important.
Right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up if you guys don't have any more questions. You can always reach Rob, give you your information.
Yeah, check me out on Rob Howe Rockstar Realtor. I actually gave away some of my prognostications here today. I don't normally do that, but I'm not, it's not necessarily stuff that I think is all that surprising. But if you wanted it more in detail, you can watch my video that should have been on today, but my editor was slow to get me. I'm waiting on tell me.
And what's your phone number? So if anyone wants to reach you.
Yeah, 702-461-7175. 702-461-7175.
And then your website.
That is Rob Howe Rockstar Realtor.
Oh, Summerlin South.
I also have SummerlinSouthHouse.com.
Mr. Jose says, how long does a new construction take to build? Well, if they don't spec it out, over 10 months to over a year, basically.
Yeah. Wow.
But now that they're specing things out, like with tri-point homes, since they spec'd out at least the structural options, they say at least 10 months. But because of the delay in supply chains, it could be a lot longer than that. Yeah. I have a friend that bought in August Sandalwood tri-point, and he's supposed to close this month. Just if you're watching, just that we met we went to lunch with.
He's had a delay? Oh, that's a bummer.
The HVAC. There's the back order of his HVAC.
Yeah.
August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So that's in line.
That's right about
in line.
Yeah.
It just seems like because I had clients that bought in the Tri-Point Overlook in October of last year that are almost done, and his house is still not even done yet.
Yeah.
So anyways.
They're making it extra special for you, Jess.
Well, you guys know how to reach me at 702-370-5112. My website is summerlincommunities.com, where I have all this awesome information about Summerlin.
She's unavoidable. If you look up Summerlin, you're going to find her.
You know what's funny? Side note, I get all these
Angela O'Hare.
She's everywhere. Side note, I've
been trying to tell her to use that slogan.
But I don't want people to think I'm everywhere because I don't want to be everywhere. I only want to be in Summerlin.
You're going to have minions. You have minions. You're not even going to have them. You already have them.
True. I want minions. All right, true. But anyway, so people, when they Google Summerlin, I pop up at the top, not to brag, but I do. Are they Summerlin HOA? I pop up and I have people call me. I need to order the HOA package, or there's something going on in Piccoli Ranch. Who do I complain to? I get at least 5 calls a day on people thinking I'm the HOA. Dude, I'm a real estate agent.
Hey, you did something right. I gotta tell you, you get this, like, you can't just get all the love. You have to have some garbage. You do something right, you're gonna have like, oh, I did something right, but also, oh, I gotta deal with this.
Right. Well, anyways, ready so we can get this down pat. What do I say? Thank you so much for watching.
Rock on
and do it peacefully, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, we went singing together.
Peace out, folks. I kind of like the one when we had Chris. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
because he got to say. Anyway, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.